Hello, 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 good morning. It is very early here at Memphis, and it's probably too early to start a flight. We won't see anything. So let's talk a little bit about the full flight. So today, contrary to what I said yesterday, we are not going to Charlotte, we are going to Atlanta. Total flight is probably around 300 miles. So let's start by creating a flight plan. And to do that, we use a little nav map, and we just enter the two airport ECO codes, read it, and create a flight plan. That will create a straight line between the two airports, and we'll see that the total flight on a straight line is 288 nautical miles. Probably we cannot do that in real life. We probably need to follow some airways, and we see that there is one airway going a little bit down towards the waypoint Vulcan, Birmingham, Victor Uniform Zulu, which is located on the Juliet 41 airway, and then from the Vulcan we can use the G52 airways to Atlanta. So what we do is the first waypoint on the airway will be Memphis, G41, Vulcan, and let's see what that gives. Now you see it's nearly complete, because the last leg from Vulcan, Birmingham to Atlanta is normally following an airway, the Juliet 52, but we can simply put the Atlanta VOR, and that will be good enough. So now we have a flight plan. There is some errors in the flight plan because the altitude is too low for the airway. So another rule of thumb for the cruising flight level, you'd simply multiply the distance by 100. So we could go eventually up to flight level 300. Now, because we are going east, we cannot use an even flight plan, so let's use 290. Of course, if your flight plan is longer, let's say 400 nautical mile, you have to be reasonable. You cannot go as high as flight level 400. That's an aircraft limitation. Probably you use then 370. And of course, if your flight plan is much shorter than 200 nautical mile, there also you cannot use flight level 200, for instance, because there is another rule that you should have at least 1/3 for the climb, 1/3 for the cruise, and 1/3 for the descent. That would be the minimum. So that will lower also your flight level if the flight is very short. So we have our flight plan nearly ready now. What we miss is the departure and the arrival. I've started active sky for the weather, so it's already there. And we see that Memphis is at 338 feet airport elevation. We do make a note of that. 338 feet. Now if we go down, we see that active sky is depicting the weather. Check the date, 18 of March, that's correct. 10:24 Zulu. Let's see. Yeah. Now the wind, interesting, 260 at 10, gusting 21. Oof. 10 statute mile visibility, broken 4,200, 12 degrees, and the altimeter is 2966, low pressure. And the preferred runway would be runway 27. Now 27 is a short runway, well, not that short, nearly 9,000 feet. So it's suitable for us. You can also see the aircraft parking stand where we are. So we will have a nice taxi going to the runway 27. If you double click on Memphis, you can select the departure and you can select only runway 27. And here we have a few. So if you click on one, you will have a nice, it is basically a vector, but it's not going where we want. Then the Zone 4, it's the other way, not really interesting. This one, because it involves a sharp turn. Binky, maybe, because we can go down and then come back. So Binky is the best for the moment. Clore, no. N4, no. Duck Z3, no. Genie E4, no. It's a very sharp turn to the right. Now, this one looks interesting because it comes back to our flight plan, but if you look closely, it's just runway heading and vectors and then come back, probably via Memphis, VOR. So it could be suitable, but I don't like this very sharp turn. Gris Z3, Hot D3, GT, Nikki, Oleum. Oleum is probably going too far south, or maybe not. PP, Self 4 and Zoom it. Now actually Zoom it is quite nice because it's nearly on a straight line runway heading. And then we can come back to the Memphis VOR. So we can use that one. Let's use that one. Well, so we include the Zoom it 3 Tango in the flight plan. Now you see the sharp turn to return to Memphis, but we can include an intermediate fix, LR, to the flight plan, and then before returning to Memphis, and then use the airways to go to Vulcan Birmingham. So this will be our departure. Now let's look at the arrival in Atlanta. You can close that window. Double click on Atlanta. What do we have in Atlanta? First, the airport elevation, 1021 feet. And for the weather, 170 at 7. Eight stated miles, visibility, raining, broken at 700, overcast at 1400, temperature 17 degrees, altimeter 2975. Of course, during the flight we will check that again, as it might change. But we do have a rough ID. So wind on 17, probably we could use the 09 and have a crosswind. In fact, it will be the same if we use 27. So let's use 09. Now the 09 left is the longest runway and closest to the stand. So let's use 09 left. Select 09 left, and we do the same process. We know probably we will select an ILS 09 left, but we can check some of the arrival. The choppy one is not very, it's coming from the other way. LGC4, it's also too far from LGC, so that Apache, no, RemG, no, Sinca, no, Smoothie 1, no, Viper, too short, Winzit 4, no, WinG 1, no, Dream, maybe, but that's kind of a detour. Stole, no, Vinny. Now, in fact, if we are coming from the Vulcan VOR, it's still a straight line, so we just insert the ILS approach into the flight plan, and there we have it. And we can also see that for the 9 left we will have an ILS India Hotel Zulu Kilo with 110.5 and 95 degrees. So make a note of that. And finally, the last thing we want to do is to export the flight plan into Explain, into the output directory, FMS plans, and we just have the 2 airports with the suffix FMS. And we register that, so that the plan is available in the Zibo FMC. Now let's have a look at the taxi. in Memphis. So we are located here on stand A17 probably. It's not indicated here, but yes, A17. So we do pushback, nose left. So we go nose left pushback, join the November taxiway, and we do a right turn on November. We all the way onto November till we cross taxiway Alpha. So we do a right on Alpha, all the way till left on Alpha 1 for the holding point runway 27. So we have now our taxi route depicted. Let's have a look at the departure. Details on the departure. Takeoff runway 27. On the heading 274. And we go all the way let's use that waypoint Felix to Felix on runway heading, and then there is a right turn on heading 284. So Felix, how can we identify Felix? Using VOR, simply measuring the distance between the Memphis VOR and Felix, and if you can see that Felix is located on the Memphis 303 radial and distance 5.2 nautical mile. Next, there is a longer leg. We go to STVVV. Same process. We measure the distance, but well, here we have the choice. We could also use the other VOR, but to make it simply, select the same Memphis VOR towards ST Victor Victor Victor, and that will be onto the Memphis 287 radial and a distance 38 nautical mile. And then we will go to Zibo800. And that will be Memphis 285 42. And that leg we need to use 272 on the heading. At Zibo800 we will do a left turn on heading 194 towards Hela. Now Hela we can also identify it. It will be the return to Memphis, but we have already. We need to intercept the Memphis 092 course. And it will be 43 nautical mile. and then we use that 092 course towards Memphis. After that, we take a right turn on heading 118 for 128 miles towards the Vulcan Birmingham VOR. So probably that VOR, we will get the signal very rapidly after Memphis. If not, we use just the radial 118 from Memphis until we catch a signal from the Vulcan Birmingham. After Vulcan Birmingham, we do a left turn on 096 degrees towards Atlanta and the ILS 09 left. So, flight plan is ready. It is ready to the FMC, well, available for the FMC. It's still a little bit early to depart, so let's do a quick break here, and we will be back soon for the cockpit preparation and entering the flight plan. See you soon. Hello, welcome back. We are now in the Zibo Boeing 738, and we are cold and dark, as you can see, and we will do the flight preparation. So the first thing we need to know is the fuel. What kind of fuel do we need for a 300 nautical mile flight? And for that I have a little spreadsheet that you can see. For 300 nautical mile we probably need 6.5 tons of fuel. That includes some fuel for the reserve. It's based on the flight time, using a ground speed of 450 knots. So far, so good. So 6.5 tons of fuel. Let's put that in the box. Fuel payload 6.5, and I'll leave the remainder 60 kilos. Now the payload, usually I'll double the figure, so that'll be 13 ton plus 200 kilos. That's a good estimate. So we have some fuel, we have the payload, so let's start from the overhead. We see that there is no ground power available, so we can request that first. Connect the GPU, and now we have it available. First thing first, battery on, ground power on, emergency lights on, logo lights on, important. Then IRES align, IRES left to nav on DC, and align light illuminate. Same for the IRES right to nav on DC, align lights illuminate. Continue going down, we can select window heat on. That's probably the only thing we want at this stage. can see cabin temperature is quite cold, 10 degrees. We can check here on the FM, on the flight deck. We have the local time, it's 5:42 in the morning, and the outside temperature is indeed 11 degrees. Let's go now to the FMC. So select FMC. On the IDEN page, we go to the Posinit page. Reference airport Memphis. Select GPS left and set IRS position. Quick compare, that's good. Route Memphis to Atlanta, Kilo Alpha Tango Lima. And as you have seen, we have created a company route, which was Kilo Mike Echo Mike, an hyphen, and then the destination Kilo Alpha Tango Lima. Entered company route and activate. Execute, and bingo, we have all the waypoints from our route. Now we can remove the discontinuity here. Now this is not very good. So probably we need to remove the Atlanta VOR from the route. That's much better. 94, 95 to the runway. So we won't use that vector page, so we can also we add Phalix as an intermediate waypoint, and then Sierra Tango Victor Victor Victor. So route is now defined. Init page, performance initialization. Fuel has been loaded, 6.6 tons nearly, and we have a zero fuel weight of 56.3 tons. I like to use 3 tons reserve for the alternate eventually, and 35 cost index. The flight level we were using was 290. Execute. Now in active sky we can also have the wind, average wind, 235 at 47, that we can put here. 235, 47, average wind. Temperature we have seen, we can check again, 11 degrees Celsius or 52 Fahrenheit, and one limit. We are doing a derated takeoff, of course, and with an assumed air temperature of 41 degrees. Takeoff page flaps 5. Center gravity 26.7 with a trim of 4.75. Taking off from runway 27, so we can select rotate 137 V2 143. And that completes the setup of the FMC. Flight director on, left and right. Select now the heading. Runway heading will be 274. And we are initially climbing to 6,000 feet. Let's do that. heading select. Let's go to the nav page or radio page, set transponder T array. So the first VOR we need is Memphis. And to get the information we can just use Active Sky also, where we have a flight plan and we have the different VOR frequencies. So for Memphis it's 117.5. For Vulcan Birmingham 14.10 and Atlanta 16.9. So the first VOR is Memphis 117.5 and we set that as active. Second VOR will be 114.1 in the standby and also in the active of NAV2, and the last will be Atlanta 116.9. So we have all the VORs we need. Let's continue now with the startup. So first fire the APU. Fuel pumps on. We can select anti-collision lights
Ladies
on.
and gentlemen, we'll be taking off in just a few minutes. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for departure.
APU to on. Low oil pressure lights illuminate.
Cabin is secured. Have a good flight.
Press the start. 3 seconds. 2, 3, 4. And the EGT is rising. It should peak around 800 degrees and then starts decreasing again. $800 and it decreases. So let's continue our scanning. Trim air can come on. The electric hydraulic pumps can come on. We now have the APU available. APU Gen 2 on, APU Gen 1 on, APU bleeder on, engine bleeder off, trim air on, packs on left and right. And now we should see an increase of the cabin temperature, and it is rising indeed. You can select seatbelt signs on, and we are basically ready for the pushback. The flight level today will be 290 and the airport elevation at Atlanta is 1021 feet, rounded to 1050. So select auto brakes, reject takeoff, flaps 5. Select altimeter 2966. And we have an altitude 320 and airport elevation 338. We are in agreement. Let's go now for the pushback. Request pushback.
Ground to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go.
And we were saying nose left. So let's go about here. Turning left. Nose left, about here. Press enter.
Grounded cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Tow is coming. So remember the taxi route. Nose left, right on November, right on Alpha, left on Alpha 1, holding point runway 27. You can select also the intersection for first waypoint was at Memphis 303. .2 mile. Memphis is tuned on nav 1.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
You can see on the ND the intersection from the 303 radial from Memphis to the waypoint Felix. That will be in our flight route, and that will be the point where we turn to heading 284.
Tow connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Parking brakes released. So
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
okay, to start the engine, go to the overhead. First select packs off, right and left. Duct pressure is increasing over 35. And ignition start switch of engine 2 to ground. The EGT light illuminates. N1 is increasing, 0.1, and to 25 fuel run. EGT is rising, and 1 is rising. EGT peaking around 480 degrees and decreasing. Start valve closing. Good start on engine number 2. Starting engine number 1. Fuel run engine number 1. Again, EGT increases. Should peak around 400.
Operation complete. Go ahead and set the parking brake.
Setting parking brakes.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
EGT1 is now decreasing, and start valve closed. Good start on engine number 1. Let's put the gen on engine number 2 and on engine number 1. Bleeder engine number 2, bleeder engine number 1. Pitot heat on, yaw damper on, isolation valve auto, left pack auto, right pack auto.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
APU off. There is the truck leaving, so taxi light on. Start ignition switches to continuous. And ready to go. Thrust 30%. So we are now parallel to the runway 27. We will have to go kind of U-turn to come back to the holding point. So we turn here on this taxiway, November, to the right. Thrust 30%. We can start the clock already. And it starts to rain. So let's use some wipers. So taxiway November is confirmed. Next one will be right on Alpha. Decrease throttle to maintain speed only, or just slow decrease. .80 knots ground speed. So auto brakes set on a rejected takeoff. Flaps 5 set. Altimeter 2966, matching airport elevation. So next taxiway is probably Alpha. We have the FBO here. There is Alpha shown on the right, thrust idle. thrust, 30%. It's now 2 minutes past 6 local time and 13:02 Zulu time. Still 7 hours difference, local time, Zulu time. Thrust idle. And at the end of the taxiway Alpha, we will turn left on Alpha 1 for the holding point of runway 27. And we can already see with those lights on So summary for the takeoff: climb runway heading 274 till waypoint Felix at 5.2 nautical mile on the 303 radial from Memphis, then turn right on heading 284. Comes Alpha 1. Let's do some braking. Turning left. Thrust idle, and we arrived at the holding point runway 27. Waiting for takeoff clearance. We are cleared for takeoff, runway 2 left, landing lights on, strobe lights on, thrust 30%, thrust idle, heading 274 for the runway, Thrust at 40%. Stable. Takeoff power set. Forward pressure.
knots.
Releasing back pressure.
V1, rotate.
Rotate. Pitch 5, continue. Pitch 10.
Positive rate.
Gear up.
.400.
Flaps 2. Reducing thrust, flaps 1.
.1000.
Flaps up. Increasing thrust a lot. Autopilot on. Auto thrust on. Turning right 284. And reduce the climb rate. It's a little bit ridiculous. So on the 284 degrees we will meet the Memphis 287. That will be a challenge, 3 degrees only.
.1000 to go.
And that will be at 38 nautical mile. So the needle is slowly coming. Leveling 6,000 feet. Auto brakes off. Flaps up, no light. Gear off. Let's have a look at the trim air is on. Yaw damper is on. Window 8 is on, pack is on, APU bleeder can come off, everything else is good. So we can engage Volok to stay on the 287 radial till 38 nautical mile. So at 38 nautical mile we will turn left on 272. So Memphis 17 nautical mile. So we can remove the wipers. So Memphis 20 nautical mile, climb flight level 290. Memphis 23 nautical mile. Passing 8,000 feet, you can select landing lights off, start ignition switches to off, logo light off, wheel well light off, seatbelt signs to auto, and cabin altitude is rising, cabin temperature 24 degrees. So at waypoint Sierra Tango Victor Victor Victor, we will turn left on heading 272. Preset that. Increase speed 285 above 10,000 feet.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we climb to our cruising altitude, we'd like to extend a special thank you to each of you, and a welcome back to our SkyMile members and Million Milers. Your business and loyalty are greatly appreciated by the entire Delta family. For your safety, it's important to remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened anytime the seatbelt sign is on. Even if the sign is off, please keep your seatbelt fastened in case we experience any unexpected rough air. We ask that you also please remember to use caution if opening the overhead bins to prevent injury from articles that may have shifted during takeoff. We've now reached an altitude where it's safe to use approved electronic devices, and a listing of these devices can be found in Sky Magazine in the seat pocket in front of you. On today's flight in the economy cabin, it will be our pleasure to offer you complimentary Coca-Cola products, Starbucks coffee, water, juices, a variety of complimentary snacks, as well as a selection of our fresh eats items and all-day goodies. Beer, wine, and spirits are available complimentary for our first class and Delta Comfort Plus passengers, as well as available for purchase for the main cabin. A complete listing of available beverages, as well as of our fresh eats items, can be found in the menus in your seat pocket. Please be reminded that Delta accepts only major credit or debit cards for onboard purchases of beverages and snacks. However, you can use your Delta SkyMiles American Express card to save 15% and earn double miles on all Delta purchases. For your enjoyment, each seat is equipped with your own personal entertainment system. On it, you can view a selection of complimentary as well as on-demand TV shows, movies, and music. You will find that this screen will work best with just a light tap of your fingertip. Feel free to use your own headsets. Otherwise, if you do need a headset, just let a flight attendant know they are yours complimentary for this and any future Delta flights.
So we are now heading 272 till 42 miles Memphis. Now turning left 194. And on that heading we will intercept the Memphis 092 back to Memphis. Sorry. After Memphis we will use the radial 118 towards Vulcan, Birmingham. Needle is slowly approaching the center, 2 dots deviation, can engage Volok. Now will it turn left or right? That's a good question. Because we have more than 90 degrees. It's turning left, so that's good. Passing 18,000 feet, altimeter standard. Memphis 45 nautical mile. What is funny is that we will reach the cruise altitude at Memphis. Passing flight level 240 for flight level 290. Inbound to Memphis. Memphis 15.5 nautical mile. Let's go to heading select mode. Switch course to 118. And re-engage Warlock.
Thousand to go.
Approaching now the cruise. Really overhead of the airport. Nothing to see below. And leveling flight level 290. Memphis 7 nautical mile. Switch VNAV on. We now have another VOR, Bravo November Alpha, but it's not the one we want, so we stay on Memphis. We want Vulcan Birmingham. So for the descent phase, we are flight level 290. Atlanta is 1000 feet, so we need to descend 28,000 feet times 3, that's 60 plus 24, 84. We can round that to 85 nautical mile. So let's give a ring of Atlanta. I can use the VOR, doesn't matter. 85 ring to indicate the point where we need to descend. For the time at destination, it will be 1407 with a remaining fuel 3 tons, 0.2. 1407, let's say 40 minutes from now. And after Vulcan Birmingham, we will use the radial 096. We can request the weather again for Atlanta using the data link. Request weather Atlanta Kilo Alpha Tango Lima, send. Get it back. 180 at 12, slightly increase. Half stated mine visibility, rain and breeze, broken at 800, overcast 1500, 90 degrees, 2971. One and a half stated mile visibility. That will be interesting. 2971. You can preset that. 2971. T21 set. So we have a 77 knots crosswind and tailwind together. Let's see the different components. On the progress page, page 2, we have a 32 knots tailwind and 71 knots right crosswind. We can also put a ring around the Vulcan VOR. Let's put an 80-mile ring. That is where we can expect to receive the signal. Memphis is now 89 nautical miles behind. We still have a false of another VOR on NAV2, Bravo November Alpha, on our left. And we have just passed the 80 miles. We can put another ring at 40 miles. Maybe it is a short range VOR. Now we see that we are deviating from our flight plan, 3.8 nautical miles to the right. We have a ground track 123, we should have 118, so let's turn 5 degrees to the left. Or maybe not, 3 degrees. And see how it goes from there. Let's double check the frequencies. 114.1 seems correct. We could check if we receive Atlanta already. Let's go to heading mode. And we do. So what we will do on this heading mode is to intercept the Atlanta 096. Switch to Atlanta. And we can remove this fix around Vulcan VOR. And for curiosity, I will leave the 114.1 on nav2 to see if we receive the new VOR. It's less than 20 miles now, so that's very strange. So Atlanta is 143 nautical miles. Engage forelock. So Vulcan Birmingham 10.5 nautical mile, but we will never receive the signal from it. So let's check for the landing. So landing 09 left, and ILS identification is India Hotel Zulu Kilo, heading 095 and 111.5. We will be doing a flaps 30 approach. So let's put the ILS on 110.5 on nav2, also on nav1, standby 0.5. We can already select it on nav2. 095, and any time now we will intercept the 096 course to Atlanta. Let's see if we have some altitude constraint on the legs page. We can already descend to 4,000 feet straight on. Forelock engaged, turning left, so what we see here is that the top of descent of the FMC is much closer than the ring. We set 85 nautical mile. Means that we should descend a little earlier. Might be because we have a kind of strong tailwind. And it will be difficult to descend and slow down at the same time. So let's plan for a descent in 10 nautical miles, roughly Atlanta 100 nautical mile. Atlanta 108. We have the message from the FMC that we need to reset the altitude. We will do that in a moment. But first, disengage VNAV, reduce the speed, 250 and descending to 4,000 feet. Vertical speed mode 1800 feet per minute. Let's double check the runway. Runway length is 12,300 feet, so Autobricks 2 is what we need. It's funny that he's saying that we are already high on the path and we are so far away. Well, runway 09 left is our landing runway today. With 3 rings, 4 miles, 10 miles and 20 miles. So the next waypoint is Hotel Romeo Delta Echo Yankee. 73 nautical miles, should be at 4,000 feet. And we are 24, so 20,000 feet to descend, 72. It might be just. It says we are 1,000 feet too high, so let's descend a little bit faster to catch up with the VNAV profile. So Atlanta 76.5 nautical mile, passing flight level 220 for 4,000 feet. We are still 1,200 feet too high, but it is decreasing. We are descending with idle thrust, 290 knots indicated. Passing 18,000 feet, altimeter 2971. Select seatbelt signs on.
The captain has turned on the fasten seatbelt sign. Please recheck the security of your seatbelt.
Now we can see that we will reach 4,000 feet before the next waypoint, so we can already reduce the descent rate 2,000 feet per minute. Let's put on some speed brakes to reduce the speed. We can select 220 knots as target speed. Atlanta 48. Passing 12,000 feet for 4,000 feet, speed 249. Let's go now to heading select and tune the ILS on nav1. .095. Retract the spoilers. (1200 feet per minute for the descent to be at 4,000 feet by Hotel Romeo Delta Echo Yankee. Below the 10,000 feet, we can select landing lights on, runway turn-off lights on, taxi lights on, start ignition switches to continuous, logo light on, and wheel well light on. although I'm not sure that that light is useful before having the gear down. Now we do have a signal, India Hotel Zulu X-ray 095 29 DME. So that is the correct ILS. And we can also put some wipers on. They were saying raining. So decrease the speed, target speed 180 when we level off 4,000 feet. Passing 5,000 feet for 4,000 feet.
1,000 to go.
Leveling 4,000 feet, reduce the speed 180 knots. Turning left 097. And continue descend 2,700 feet. Flaps 1. Again, we still have no ILS. 11 miles, so that's not correct. Flaps 2. Flaps 5.
1,000 to go.
Gear down. Gear down 3 green, flaps 15.
2,500.
Reduce speed 160 knots. 8 miles to go. Continue the descent till 1,500. Passing 2,700 feet. Still fully blind. Auto throttle off. Thrust at 55%, reducing.
$1,000 to go.
1,000 feet to go. Flaps 30. That's probably 09 right. 09 left is there. Autopilot off.
1,000.
Continue descending. No ILS, this is crazy.
Flight slow.
300.
Flight slow. Flight slow. Flight slow.
200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Cutting thrust. Reverse is on. Minus 126, very good. In low visibility, no ILS.
80 knots.
Reverse is stowed. Auto brakes off.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened until the captain has parked the aircraft at the gate and turned off the seatbelt sign.
Use
This will be your one and only indication that it's safe for you to get up and move about the
every
cabin.
inch of the
Remind you
runway.
to use caution when opening the overhead bins to prevent injury from articles that may have shifted during landing. You may now use your mobile phones and other handheld electronic devices while we taxi to the gate. However, your laptop computers and larger electronics must remain stowed. We
Flaps
invite
up.
you to visit delta.com for all your future travel needs, including checking in for a flight and managing your Sky Miles account. If any of you should have questions regarding ground transportation, baggage claim, or any other information, a uniformed Delta agent meeting this flight will be more than
Landing
happy
lights
to answer any
off.
questions you may have. On behalf of Delta Sky Team, our global partners, and especially your flight crew, we'd like to thank you all for flying with us. We've enjoyed having you on board and look forward to the opportunity to serve you once again.
Let's start also the APU. One, two, three, four. Release. taxiway Lima, ramp 9 on the right. Let's continue a little. Atlanta is of course a giant airport with at least 6 concourse on the right. But why no ILS? Mystery. Let's take the next one on the right. Thrust idle. Turning to the right. Oops. That was close. Bang. Echo 6 seems a good one. Parking brake set. APU gen on, wiper off, taxi lights off, APU bleeder on, killing engine number 1, killing engine number 2, and 1 decreasing, fuel flow, fuel pumps off, IRS right off, IRS left off, window heat off, pitot heat off, left pack off, right pack off, engine bleeder off, anti-collision lights off, wing light off, wheel well light off, transponder standby, resetting the MCP, well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Atlanta. The local time is 16 minutes past 8. And we thank you for being with us today. Let's have a look at the replay. Let's do a little bit fast at the beginning. Gear down. Normal speed. Probably descending a little fast. Not seeing the runway because of this little cloud. And the last minute. We are a little bit high, effectively. So we have probably 3 whites, 1 red, if not 4 whites. Still 4 whites. White still. Luckily, it was indeed a very long runway. Way too high. Look at that. Touchdown was not too bad. A little to the right. So, wait 2 seconds, exit the replay. So all that is good. Now let's have a look at our map with all the legs segments so far since Gander. So on the last leg, fly Tampa, New Orleans, Houston, Memphis, Atlanta, and tomorrow finally Charlotte. Thank you for being with us today. Have a good day. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.